Welcome to the Science Behind. This video is a portion of the Science Behind Blacksmithing series. Today's video is titled Up in Smoke. Our first question is, what's in all that smoke headed up the forge's exhaust, and where does it go? In another video, we've already discussed destructive distillation, the process where coal is burned with reduced amounts of oxygen. This process converts coal into coke. Many of the volatiles or small compounds in coal are converted from solids to gases. This process also frees the water locked in the coal's matrix by converting it to its gas form as well. So the simplest answer to our question is coal volatiles and water vapor. But how they are converted to gases and what is exactly in coal volatiles takes a few more minutes. Coal is the main source of gases going up the exhaust from the blacksmith shop. But what is coal and where does it come from? Our blacksmith keeps a small supply near the forge at all times. In large shops of the past, they would have required large amounts of coal, maybe even train hoppers full. West Virginia has been supplying coal to the rest of the country for 150 years. So why do we call coal a fossil fuel? Because that's what coal literally is. It starts as green plants using photosynthesis to capture carbon dioxide from the air with water and trace minerals from the plant roots and make sugars. It's the same sugar your body needs to survive. We have all seen big trees around West Virginia. Did everything that oak tree needed to grow so big come from an acorn? No. There is not enough room in the acorn to fit a huge tree. So most of the material or elements come from water and trace minerals from the plant roots and carbon dioxide from the plant leaves. Sunlight is the energy source for plants, including oak trees, to grow. The process of green plants making their own food is called autotrophy, which means self-feeding. If every plant grew and then died, they would cover the ground so deep it would be very hard to move around. But luckily for us and most other life, fungi are here to save the day. Fungi are not plants or animals, but they are decomposers. They break down the very tough-to-eat wood. Some bacteria and a few insects like termites help too, but most of the decomposing is done by fungi. We see fungi as its most common reproductive form, mushrooms, but most of the fungi are tiny little strands underground called mycelium. They live in the soil and look a lot like plant roots. So a long time ago, plants that formed coal lived and died in huge swamps. Why swamps? Because the water in swamps are special. They have very low oxygen and they are acidic. These two traits mean that dead plant material can fall in the water and not be broken down by decomposers. So over a very long time, the plants get buried by soil and other plants. Eventually, they get so much material on top that lots of heat is generated. The pressure and heat alter the dead plant material into coal, oil, or natural gas. Those are all fossil fuels. So what are some elements found in plant material? Remember, an element is one of the smallest particles we can break anything into that has set characteristics. Do you remember the melting temperature of iron? 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. This table of periodic elements is color-coded to show which elements are found in coal. The most common elements are carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and sulfur. Minor elements are in yellow and include iron, manganese, aluminum, silicon, calcium, and phosphorus. Elements found in very small amounts or trace amounts are shown in light blue. As you can see, most of the elements found on the periodic table are found in coal. And in plants, fungi, birds, worms, and even you. So let's look again at our blacksmith. In this video clip, you see him heating up his rod stock, but this time he uses a poker to scrape more coal fuel into the fire. Look how much bigger and brighter the flame gets. Then he adds more air to the forge using the bellows. The flame is now white hot. Do you remember how some of the heat escapes as light? This is called radiation. The heat melts some of the coal from a solid to a liquid, with the smaller particles reacting first since they are the smallest and easiest to react to the heat energy. These small molecules of a mix of elements are called the volatile compounds. There are many kinds of molecules mixed together, but they are all small. The hot air heated by the fire moves up the exhaust. Carried along with this heat is the volatile compounds. Water is also freed from the coal. This water is turned to steam and goes up the exhaust vent on the forge. As the steam goes up the exhaust, it actually cleans the vent. If the volatile gases cool too quickly, they may return to a liquid state on the sides of the vent. If it cools further, some of these liquids may turn solid or semi-solid. We call this buildup on the inside surface of exhaust vents or chimneys soot. If it is not cleaned out regularly, it can build up. Then, if the blacksmith makes a very hot or big fire, that soot can catch fire. These kinds of fires used to burn down lots of blacksmith shops and houses. Luckily, we mostly heat our houses not using wood or coal anymore. So what goes up the exhaust vent of our blacksmith shop? Water vapor and a mixture of common elements, mostly as volatile gases.